Batista with the catch! Oh! LeBron James with no regard for human life!
Hand down, man down.
Yeah, I can see how disrespectful he's being right now.
No, I went to Temecula and brought you some dirt.
Yeah, that's a technical.
Mama, there goes that man.
Welcome back to The Bounce, brought to you proudly by Bite Size Sports. As always, I am Kev, and with me is James. James, how you doing, sir?
I am good. A little disappointed with all the injury news from the NBA, but otherwise, man, I'm good. I'm good.
That is good. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're good. And you know what? I agree with you. The injuries are a big bummer right now this time of the year. And I was about to just dive right into my rant. So let me just say this.
Get it out the way.
Everyone. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Everybody's filing in right now. So welcome. Get your thoughts in the comments, whether it's NBA playoff predictions or if your team season is over, vent, let it out. As Worldwide Wob would say, you know, this is a safe space. Let it all out.
Yep.
Let's talk about why your team didn't do what you needed them to do and what they might be looking at for next year. We're happy to talk about any of that, anything you got going on in the chat. What up, Bite Size Vikes?
Johnny, appreciate you
so
last
much,
night,
John.
brother.
Yeah, thank you for filling in for me last night. I greatly appreciate that. You are a true friend there. Appreciate you both. And yeah, so to talk about tonight's show, all right, we're going to, of course, look at tomorrow night's final play-in tournament games. We're going to talk about the play-in games that have happened so far. We're going to look at the first-round matchups, make our picks there, and, of course, talk about the intermingling news that has been impacted by these different topics as we get to them. And so I'm just going to start here, James, so I can get my rant. I can get it off my chest and we can move on. We can be productive. We can have a good rest of the show. Okay. So you were talking about the unfortunate injuries.
To
Big
Jimmy
bummer
Butler,
there.
who's now out for multiple weeks, probably essentially the playoffs. Zion got hurt, hamstring, I think, not going to play tomorrow in a win or go home game. I'm going to lead Kevin to this and let him go. We just talked last week about these games not mattering. The Zion one, those games do matter. Those teams were good, but Jimmy got hurt he gets hurt against 76ers, which matters, but now they have to fucking play a game tomorrow against the Bulls that shouldn't be playing right now. The Bulls and Hawks should not have played, period. They were not close enough for it to matter. It's stupid because now we're not going to get a Heat Celtics game, a full series, a rematch of the last couple of years. Those teams have been battling the last couple of years. So instead of getting that, we're going to get a watered down version because Jimmy's out. This isn't Tyler Hero being out for the playoffs last year. This is Jimmy fucking Butler. We're 3 minutes in. It sucks. And we just talked about those games. They shouldn't have been played.
Yeah, this is
at least out east. East, they should not have been played. The West, I understand it.
Yeah, 100%. The West games, I do agree with. But this, I mean, I feel bad. This sets up perfectly for what we talked about last week. We were saying this very thing. In the Eastern Conference, these games were meaningless. I think verbatim what I've been asking for is for the play-in tournament to go back to its roots. I understand the bubble was a different circumstance, but there were certain requirements that teams had to meet to be eligible for the play-in tournament in the bubble. And I think that is what they really need to look at. We also, look, we're not dumb. We understand the economics of sports business. So we acknowledge that too. We said, hey, they're going to want to continue to have this because it's 2 extra games that they can make money off of. However, you've now just ruined an entire first round matchup because you're either going to get the beat up Heat or you're going to get the ghost of the Chicago Bulls, who are not back, John. I would say don't get me started,
back.
But the horse is out of the gate. So we're already started. And now we're going to have to follow through and finish it. But this was a pointless, meaningless game.
Pointless.
there should have been no play-in tournament for the East this year. Unfortunate. There is the question of fairness. If there are 4 teams in the West that are within the range and they do have to play, and now all 8 teams in the East get a little bit of a break. But you know what I would say to that? Good, because there should be some. Why would you not reward the teams that handled their business, got it done?
Man, like,
okay. Oh, God forbid, they've earned 2 extra days off. Then just unbelievable. What a big loss for such a small, short-sighted game.
So stupid. Ugh. Like, the Celtics Heat would have been a banger of a first round series. And now we might not even get it. Because what, for a cash grab, so you get 2 extra games? What do you think is going to bring more money in, Kev? 7-game series with the Heat Celtics, or these fucking the Hawks Bulls game on Tuesday night that nobody gave a fuck about?
Exactly. I'm not even convinced that
man, it makes me mad.
Sellout, so we're talking about 2 of the bigger markets in the sport, by the way, and just in general. Like, it's not like Chicago or Atlanta, it really needs this that needs that extra exposure to the world stage. No, it's not one of those situations. They had nothing to gain. They're both frauds.
Man.
They're not playoff teams. They have no business even playing in the postseason.
Should not have been playing.
It takes away the credibility of this entire thing. And now we're going to get stuck with this Bulls team as an 8 seed.
Yeah.
Or we're going to have, as you said, because I remain unconvinced that Chicago would win this game on Friday. We'll talk about that soon. Yeah. Miami's still the favorite, by the way.
By 1.5 point favorite per ESPN. Yeah, John, we agree. The plan absolutely made sense in the West.
Yes.
We agree. There's the win threshold shouldn't matter. Like, we talked about this last week. The West absolutely should have been a play-in, because let me pull up the standings. The last 4 teams were within 2 games of each other. Kev, is that right?
It's it's something like that.
7 through 10 were within a game of each other.
That's what. Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, and if you go 6, like the Pelicans had a better record. It's kind of goofy what's going on there, but 6 through 10, you were 8 games back of the Thunder, or 11. There was 3 games total for 5 teams. Absolutely, there's the play-in game there should matter. Here's the fucking stupidity in the East. The 76ers were 47-35. The Heat were 46-36. The Bulls and Hawks didn't have a winning record. The Bulls were 7 games behind the Heat at 39-43. The Hawks were 10 games back of the Heat at 36-46. They shouldn't have fucking played.
10
if you want to play a game between the Heat and the 76ers inside 7-8, by all means, fuck it. Like, you want to play in game, whatever. Sure.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
But because you played that game and you made them play, and the Bulls, Hawks played, and now the Heat have to play them because you wanted some fucking more ticket money, the Heat are without their best player. Most important player, most valuable player, period, however you want to say it. There is no argument anywhere.
And that's a series that, like, the ratings will be impacted by that. No one's going to watch that.
Nobody's going to watch the Celtics dominate.
That's a foregone conclusion. Yeah. So what was the actual? Yeah. So long term,
it wasn't going to be a normal 1 versus 8. Was not going to be a normal 1 versus 8.
Yeah, it was going to be one of the most anticipated matchups. Yeah, because
last 3 years they've played every year.
Yeah, and the East isn't incredibly strong. A lot of people are saying, and I would agree, if the Celtics don't get to the finals this year, it's a problem. Everybody.
There's so much
is right. All those people have been saying that. What they've been saying
but
about
what better foil than to have to beat your arch nemesis in the first fucking round? The team that knocked you out last year. I think they've knocked them out 2 of the last 3 years.
And a team that's made a deep run as an 8 seed.
They made the fucking finals as an 8 seed last year. Nobody was going to look at the Heat in the 8 seed and be like, that's a joke. Like, who cares about them?
That's a money storyline.
A monster. They've been like, it was printing money. Here it is. Here's your ESPN fucking headlines. Are the Heat going to do it again? Can the Heat upset the Celtics and do it again? Yeah, man. Been a monster.
Because with all due respect, although we will be watching it, the world at large is not going to watch Orlando versus Cleveland.
No,
There's
they don't care.
nothing going on in
They
the
don't care
East
about
in the
Orlando versus
first round.
Cleveland.
You
Bucks,
maybe
Magic.
have
Knicks Pacers has a little value just because of nostalgia, but nothing would have came close to Boston, Miami. Nothing.
right.
Nothing.
And now the best we're gonna get is what? Honestly, maybe Pacers Bucks, but Giannis is hurt, so even that's kind of watered down.
Yeah, I said Pacers Knicks. I'm sorry, it's Knicks 76ers. Yeah, Pacers Bucks, and Giannis is hurt.
Yeah,
man, like.
So just
Come on, bro.
Feels like a major error in this, which unfortunately maybe could be long term. This is maybe what we needed.
Maybe we have to have this moment
to start.
We had an argument based on really nothing. Now suddenly we have an argument based in reality where somebody got hurt and it fucked everything up. So maybe this is, I hate it, but maybe that's what we needed. You know?
And then what? Yeah, and hope. Honestly, the other thing Celtics need to handle business. Because
the Celtics need to just mow them down now, and then we can be like, look, this is what we said.
Worst thing that could happen is this Bulls team actually win a couple of games in that first round and add legitimacy, because it's kind of a farce to me now. And it should always be about what's the whole point of the postseason is supposed to be that the best teams are there. Yep. And even if you want to look at it, just say screw the competitive side of things. This is a business. Businesses have to make money. The way you make money in sports is having compelling storylines people want to invest in, or good games, hard-fought games that people, if they want to see the competition, even if they aren't as driven by the storylines, the behind the scenes, you want to see good matchups, and you want to see what star players. Name me the star player on the Chicago Bulls. There's nothing.
White.
Now, and that's the thing. Like dudes
Johnson,
like us,
but also like we know that nobody else knows.
We'll know the rosters, but playoff is more. The playoffs, I usually, for every sport, I view as a great opportunity to try to win new fans, because it's going to be all over the TVs at whatever sports bar. It's more. To me, it just hits a wider audience because it's a championship going on. So I cannot understand how they can look at this and say, that Atlanta team or that Chicago team, both 10 games behind the 8 seed, had
deserve to be
playing for a shot at the postseason. There has to be a cutoff. Otherwise, it to me defeats the purpose.
This is what you run into. It's so
and going the other way doesn't fix it, because it's not like we can say, oh, let's do a best of 3 bubble, or because old heads will remember the first round used to be 5 games, and you know why they changed it to 7? Because too many teams were getting upset, and also they can make more money off more games.
It's easier to upset a team in a 3-game series than a 5.
And so it's not like we can go the other way and say, oh, well, let's just have a series for these play-in games. We can't afford. Basketball season's too long as it is. The playoffs, especially, are too long.
Playoffs, man, they drag on, dude.
It's an opportunity to fix 2 problems if they set some requirements for being eligible and it makes the play-in mean more as well.
Even if you're within 5 games, we don't have to make it outrageous, but we're talking 7 to 10. Get the fuck out of here.
I agree with that, and I think that's a good.
Here's an idea. You have to have a winning record. There's a start. Let's start there.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got winning record, let's start win threshold, or a set number of games behind the 8 seed. There are 3
in that situation.
Get started. Pick one.
All the teams in the West playing made it. They're in, all of them. Even the Rockets. The Rockets had a better winning record than both playing teams in the East at 41-41. By our criteria, they would have not made it just because they were 500. Oh God, 500. Whoa. They'd have won 1 more game and they came on hot at the end. But we don't need to be rewarding the Chicago Bulls at 39-43 for one, not blowing up their team, not this year, 2 years ago. Knock it off. That's stupid, man.
100% absolute travesty, in my opinion.
Yeah,
we need to get away from this. They're breaking the postseason in the NBA. The last thing we need to do is be
Winning
making it longer just to
matters.
make it longer. Yes,
Winning matters in everything. Winning matters.
And since we're beaten up on the play-in, and we've already talked about the debacle of the East, you want to talk about the West Side play-in game? Because there was an injury involved in that. Again, we will acknowledge these games should be happening, but it is unfortunate that Zion went down. So I guess
it sucks,
I have a Lakers specific question afterwards, but let's just focus on Zion and the injury, because you and I were talking about that in the pre-show as well.
So like the difference here is that by every criteria we've created and made, like this game was always going to happen. Like I'm okay with this one happening. What sucks is that Zion Williamson played, I'm going to look this up because I think he played like the most games he's played in 4 years this year. His stats. Let's go stats here. Zion Williamson played 70 games this year. It's the most he's ever played in his career.
That's probably 2 seasons combined. You know,
I mean, he's played 24 games his rookie season. Second year he played 61. Third year played 29. This year he played 70. And as Kev, as the biggest Pelicans fan last year, when I declared the Nuggets the champions, he chose the Pelicans, and Zion immediately got hurt right after. He knows the pain. Like they can't win. Like they're a different team without him. And oh my God, they just played. Him and Ingram just played almost a full season together. Like finally, they were both able to stay healthy. They were 49-33. They weren't chumps. Winning record at home and on the road. And he fucking goes out and what's he here? I think it was his hamstring. Left hamstring strain and will be reevaluated in 2 weeks. So season done.
Yep.
Because without him, they're not going to beat
Thunder. 2 weeks. Yeah, they are not going to make
it. They might not, in my opinion, they're not going to beat the Kings without him tomorrow. But
agreed.
It just, that one, like, can't do anything about that one. It just sucks that at the most crucial time of the year, he gets hurt. Like, fuck, that sucks.
Yeah, you really hate to see it. And they're a deep team when healthy, you know, between him and Ingram. They got McCollum over there still, Valanciunas. Somehow players still let Alvarado pick their pockets off inbounds. You know, people haven't figured that out yet, but you know, and there's a couple other role players out there. You know, I'm not going to list off the whole roster, but it's not going to be enough if they do manage to pull if the Kings just have a bad night. I'm with you on this one, James. This is the Kings. They're, I think, 1.5 favorites as well. So obviously everyone thinks it's still going to be close, but if the Kings decide or just have let's just say they have a bad shooting night, right? And the Pelicans are able to win because the Kings just can't find the hoop. They have no shot against the Thunder. I will save our predictions for when we get to that point in it, but it's just such a bummer. We complained about the East for about 10 minutes there. The West is so good this year from top to bottom. So
good. The top 11 deserved a shot at it.
Exactly. And last year's
Rockets came on so good.
Playing
in
tonight
and
tomorrow.
At a better record, right? Isn't that right?
I think it might have been better. It was this when we were live last week. I think it was the exact same record that they had when they were the 3 seed.
It's crazy.
And so they stayed flat, whereas half the conference improved, and now here they are at the bottom of the playoffs. But they may have a chance to give the Thunder some problems. But yeah, it's just so unfortunate that the Pelicans finally stay healthy, and the year that they do, it's the deepest the West has been in a long time, probably since LeBron played in Cleveland. You know, this gave me a lot of nostalgia, James. I'm like, God, the West is so much better than the East. It's like 2003 all over again. You know?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's back in the day. Like, the West is so good. It's gonna be so much fun. But it just sucks that we don't get it started a little early because of an injury.
Yeah,
it just blows.
Big bummer there. So Takes us to our final play-in predictions. We've still got those last 2 games. Which one would you want to start with, James? You want to stay in the West, or you want to look at the East?
Oh, I mean, let's get the stupid East out of the way.
Fair.
Heat at home, still favored by 1.5. I think the Heat will still get it done just because they're better, period.
Yeah.
But it's completely ruined for me. You know, and shout out, like, Colby White had a monster game the other night. What did he have? 42 points, career high.
Yeah,
First career 40-point game. Like, good for him.
Yeah, great player. Can be a bit streaky when it comes to that level of play, right? He had a run
Yep.
earlier in the season where he was doing stuff like that for a couple of games, and you don't hear his name
Yeah,
quite as
definitely
much.
not consistent. Yeah.
But he's a stud. Another guy who's on my all 2K team, Kobe White right now. He's 6th man of the year on the Seattle Supersonics in my 2K Dynasty right now, dude. He's a dog. But I'm with you here. I think the Heat will pull away. I think we're both on the same page.
Better. They still got.
It doesn't
They
matter.
still
who
got
wins
better
this game.
players. They've still got our Bam. I was like, what the hell? I was like, who? I can't even think of anything. Right? Bam still, like, they got Bam. They got Hero. They got guys. Like, they're better.
And more importantly, at least to me, they're far better coached.
That guy that is arguably the best coach in the NBA is their coach. So yeah, don't take that away from him either.
You give me Eric Spoelstra and a talented high school basketball squad, or like a Division III JV squad, and I might give him a shot to beat these Bulls, because these Bulls are pathetic. They shouldn't be here. They should have traded their players away when their players had value. And you
2 years
should get
ago.
what you deserve when you make stupid decisions. You do not deserve the playoffs. Good day, sir. You lose.
Yep. I mean, they still got Tyler Hero, Bam, Rozier. Maybe they're better. Jamie Jaquez, our boy Pablo Escobar, Caleb Martin. Like, they're going to win, period. We're done talking about that bullshit. We're done. We're done with that game. The other one, we've got Kings, Pelicans, Kev. Kings and Pelicans. This one sucks because we lost a guy, which should have been a great game, which makes me believe we're both going to go chalk here. Pulling up, I accidentally clicked away from the scores. I think the Kings are favored by 1.5.
Yeah, by 1.5. Yep, that's correct.
On the road, Kings are on the road. Like, I give me De'Aaron Fox all day. De'Aaron and DeMontis. And Keegan Murray was a monster the other night at 32.
Love seeing him come into his own out there as well. I am going to agree with you, James. The Kings will be lighting the beam down in the Bayou. I do think it's going to be close. Give the Pelicans some credit here. As I said previously, they're a deep team. They're going to be hurt, obviously, without Zion. That's not a hot take there. I expect a huge game from Ingram Friday night. But the Kings just have too many options. And the combination, McCollum, I think Portland learned the hard way that McCollum is not a true number 2. And that's sort of what we're going to see again. He can play well, but Ingram and McCollum with Valanciunas and the boys, it's just not going to be enough unless the Kings, as I said before, have just a really bad shooting night or something. Give me Sacramento in this one as well. We are on the same page there. There you have it. So in our world, the playoffs are locked in. So do we want to start with the what you got?
I'd like to talk about the Warriors first before we go.
Okay.
Warriors knocked out of the playoffs. Klay Thompson 0 for 10. Draymond Green obviously has been a problematic figure for a long time, but especially this year. Nobody showed up for that game except Steph, and Steph had a pretty pedestrian game for himself. 22 points on 16 shots. He was chased around by, I believe it was Ellis. I'm making sure I pull up the right guy here because it's Keon Ellis out of Alabama. Chased him around all night, dominated it, like was a defensive monster, had 15 points on the other side. Keon Ellis is a hell of a story. That was on a 2-way contract less than 2 months ago and is now an absolute enforcer for them and is so important to them. My question, Kev, is came out today. Kerr says there's a lot of value in keeping the Warriors' big three together. Obviously, Steph is locked in. Like they signed Draymond last offseason. Clay is an unrestricted free agent. So here's Kerr's quote, and I'm going to let you do what you want with it. I do think there's a lot of value to having our three guys being Warriors for life. I think there's a lot of value in ending with dignity. So for those three, I really want to see them finish their careers here, but also finish out their careers with a sense of pride and dignity in what they're doing. But he also goes, even the 96, 98 Bulls, the team was broken up after our last year. What do the Warriors do from here, Kev? Like, I guess a twofold question. What do the Warriors do, and what does Steph do? Because Steph's still Steph.
Yeah.
Problem is the rest aren't.
Exactly. And it's so funny to hear Steve Kerr suggest that Draymond Green would have the ability to retire with any dignity, because if he's if he's self-aware at all, that ship sailed a long time ago. But fortunately for Draymond, he doesn't, in which case he will always retire with dignity in his mind, because he's incapable of holding himself accountable for all the dumb shit that he does.
Yeah, he's a moron, period. Even Steph this year averaged 3 points less a game. So, Kevin rocking the no glasses look tonight. He got you all fucked up.
Yep.
Broke his glasses.
Shouts out to Contacts and soon to Gorilla Glue, I think. Yeah, I think I got the shipment coming.
Oh, the Pacers. We'll get to the Pacers, Kenny. Good Lord. So
Warriors.
What do the Warriors do here, Kev? Like, they got a lot of money tied up in Steph and, unfortunately, Draymond. Kuminga was better this year at 16 points a game. Wiggins, I think, took a step back. Podziemski was a good pick for them. CP3's on that team, and it's a ghost of CP3. I don't know what if he's on the books next year. I have no idea. Moses Moody, 8 points a game. It's not working out. Trey Jackson-Davis was good in spurts. What are these, like, the problem here is there is no young talent to supplant these guys. When they were bad, when those guys were hurt, they drafted Kuminga, they drafted Moses Moody, and they drafted the 7'2" monster. They can't think of his name, that they traded for nothing because he was terrible, out of Memphis. One of the three is good, I would argue.
Send Curry to the Spurs. Yeah,
Oh, fuck yeah.
So I think you're spot on here. I'm going to highlight these comments again. Let's see what the fans think. Keep Steph and Draymond, Ken says. Got to get rid of CP3 and Clay. They just don't fit. Nate says it's time to tear it down, or as I might say here in a second, blow it up. But sending Curry to the Spurs, I mean, that'd be fun. That would probably help Steve Kerr land a job in the front office of a franchise where he also won an NBA championship. So maybe a little collusion to make that one happen, Nate, but it's possible. Here's my thing. I can understand saying what was said. All right. That was Kerr, right? Who said, I think there's some value in keeping these guys Warriors for life, right? That was a Steve Kerr quote.
Yep.
That is a thing for Steve Kerr to say, so that in public, so that behind the scenes, when he's talking to the general manager and the owner, he can be honest with them, because the fans are going to want to hear that. This was a dynasty, the likes of which you rarely see in the NBA.
I agree.
What the Warriors
Absolutely.
have done was like the Lakers in the 80s, man,
Yep.
where it was just like at least a conference
Yep.
finals every single year did not matter. You
Mhm.
don't, it was rare. It was the Bulls in the 90s as long as Jordan was on the roster. You don't see it all the time. And I can understand the nostalgia for that, wanting to have that, wanting to as a
Mhm.
business be able to cash in on those farewell tours as they happen. Maybe they're probably hoping each guy retires one, a year apart so they can really milk the shit out of that. But
Mhm.
if the goal is going to be to win games and get back into, thank you, Ken, a consistent playoff
Hey,
threat,
Kenny.
you've got to
Yep.
move on some of this stuff. You've got to
Mhm.
move on. Any of these guys, I'm unfamiliar with the contract situation of every single player, but I would be trading the ones that have value, and I don't know that I would be re-signing any of the ones that are on expired contracts, even if they take a team-friendly deal. This team's going to be a year older next year. The West, as we've just talked about for the last 30 minutes, is as deep as it's been in a long time. They are not going to have the legs
Mhm.
to have another run for 2 or 3 more years. And I bet you Clay, Draymond, probably even Chris Paul, all of these guys want to play for at least a couple more years.
Yeah, they're not
And
done.
you cannot afford to let the players decide. Let them go be somebody
Mhm.
else's. It's unfortunate, but take it from a Colts fan. I don't see
Can't let
Peyton
them
Manning
outstay
as the
their welcome.
Bronco. It is what it is. The fans will still
Mhm.
welcome them back when it's time to retire. You got to think big picture here and not be worried about the sentimental value. But again, I think it's the perfect quote from the coach. I just don't think any of it was real. So as we say on the
Mhm.
clout route, I am pressing X to doubt that Steve Kerr even genuinely feels
I
that
don't
way.
think he believes that at all. I don't think so. Like
Ken says, I just don't see Steph not playing for Kerr. But yeah, go ahead, James.
I I think you let Clay walk. I think it's the easy one. And then you have to decide next. The problem being Draymond's signed for a lot of money and his value is not very high. His off the court antics and shit. Take that back. His on the court antics
Oh, yeah.
are a problem. And his stats aren't backing it up. Like he was an elite defensive enforcer, but if he's only going to play 55 games because he's going to get suspended all the time. Like I'm of the mind, if I'm Steph Curry, it's a twilight of your career. Yes, you've been a Warrior your whole career. You're still playing at a very high level. Do you want out? And if that's the case, is it beneficial for both sides for you to get out and them to recoup a bunch of draft capital? I agree, Kenny. I agree. I would agree with that. I don't think he was as good this year as he's been in championship teams, and the on the court stuff is outrageous. Like he's one whoopsie away from being done forever. Hashtag Jonte Porter. I don't think they do it, but I think a split for the Warriors and Steph would be very beneficial.
Yeah, I agree. And here's another thing to think about, or at least it's a parallel that comes into my mind. You've got Steph Curry, who a lot of his career overlaps with one Tom Brady. They're looked at a lot
Yep.
in the same light as
Mhm.
the player of their sport for their generation. And he got to see Tom Brady leave his dynasty. How many people thought, myself included, for at least a certain point in
Mhm.
history, that there was no way Tom Brady would ever be anywhere else but New England? And we
Won a
saw what
title
happened
outside
there.
of New England.
Exactly. And still thought, and nobody died, and he hasn't been ostracized from Massachusetts or anything like
It
that. So
happens, man.
I think Steph is going to look at this, and it really depends on what he wants for the rest of his career. I don't personally see him being a guy that's willing to just go out and get 30 a night on a team that sucks
I
and just
don't
play
see that
meaningless
either.
basketball.
He's been playing for titles his whole career. Like, I don't see that as a possibility,
I
right?
also see me either, and I see him as a guy who's not as statistically driven and knows
Mhm.
that with his shooting ability, he'll have his nights. So I could see him going to another team that's already established
Mhm.
and not needing to be I mean, he's Steph Curry, so it's not like he's going to become the fourth option. This isn't
Yep.
Chris Bosh going to Miami, but I think he'll be fine going to someone else's team, knowing there's a top dog here. I'm going to have the ball in my hands plenty. I'm Steph
Yep.
Curry. I demand, he commands a certain amount of respect without asking for any of it. There's not going to be
Mhm.
a lot of people who are going to give him a hard time if he's joining their team to bring him to a title. So, yeah, I think it's time. Learn from the mistakes of Chicago and Toronto and other teams in times
Mhm.
past that held on to this stuff for too long,
And
didn't
it
blow it up, and
costs
have
you
nothing
so
to show
long.
for
It
it.
ruins you for
Costs you
years,
years. Yes,
you know?
exactly.
Get ahead of the game. That's okay. It's fine. Like, those 3 draft picks have messed everything up. It's fine to acknowledge, like, the reality of it is it ain't you're not you're gonna be the play-in game at best, you know?
And you know my opinions on that. That's where you ask us Pacers fans how much fun it is to be the 8 to 10 seed year in and year out.
It sucks,
And
dude.
just
It's
be playing
stupid.
for a first round berth and hoping you don't get swept. That's not how that's how you get stuck there.
Yep. Mhm.
That's like no man's land right there.
That is exactly it. It's no man's land. It's not Kenny, lifelong Pacers fan right here. Here's all you need to know.
Boom.
Zero fun, not fun. It's purgatory. It's not where you
We
want to end
were
up. Not in
we were
basketball, not in life.
straight up not having a good time back then, okay?
Yeah, I agree, Kenny. Your guys are out of purgatory now. You
Get
got
it.
out. Can't be there.
Get it.
Like, the goal is not to be there forever, and that's the Warriors are back-to-back years in there.
Yeah, and it's just not where you would want to be. They've got a brand new arena, right? I mean, I know it probably doesn't have that new
It's
arena smell anymore, but it
sucks,
was a
but
big
it's just
investment.
yeah.
You're going to want to that's the debate. Are you going to try to squeeze out as many ticket sales as you can out of the declining skills of these big names? Or are you going to do the best thing you can to restock your cupboards so
Mhm.
that in the next couple of years you'll have a good team again, knowing that in sports, that the majority of the
Mhm.
time conquers all. If you're good, the money will come, especially if you're consistently good. Before
Yep.
this current Warriors dynasty, the best thing that team was ever known for was Baron Davis and the boys upsetting the Mavericks as an
Yeah.
8th seed.
Yep.
The
These guys have
Warriors were
changed the
not
trajectory of the franchise. Absolutely.
exactly. And so we know winning fixes everything. So the reality of it is, are you going to be there's a short-sighted
Mhm.
answer and there's the long-term answer. And it really
Yep.
depends on how you want to look at it. For me, I'm always on team big picture. So I
Yeah.
think it's time to move on.
Always big picture. Like, I think so too. I think it's just time to. It's time. It's Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Time has run out, and that's
It
okay.
has.
It's better to be ahead of it than behind it.
Ooh, Kenneth's got a good question here, I think, and this we can go ahead because speaking of it being time, I think it's time to start
Dun
previewing
dun dun.
these first round matchups. And I was wondering where we might want to start.
There it
So
is. This
thank
is
you,
why we have
Ken, right
fans.
here. Sixers got to move on after this year, right? So I think we can add that to our first round prediction because, spoiler alert, and James might prove me wrong here. I don't think either of us have the Sixers winning this whole thing. So
Not the whole thing, though.
soon enough, they will be thinking about next year. So, James, knowing that neither of us thinks they're going to win it all, should the Sixers move on this year and blow theirs up if they get anything less than a title?
think they're 1 year away, because I mean, I can see him beating the Knicks because the Knicks aren't healthy either. Julius Randle's
True.
out. Is OG playing? I don't know.
Let me pull that up. I'll look into that while you.
Joel played 39 games this year after 66 and 68 the years prior. If I'm them, I think I've got one more year in it, especially with Maxi's explosion, and you just acknowledge that he missed a fucking ton of games this year. I don't think you can yet, but man, you could get a king's ransom for Joel Embiid. If you felt the need to build on Tyrese Maxey.
You definitely could. I mean, it's a tough one, and yeah, right now, it's just Randall for the Knicks. So OG is back.
OG's back. So yeah, give me Knicks easy. Give me the Knicks.
Yeah, that's where I'm with it too. I think the Sixers are a one and done this year, and because of that, Kenneth, I am agreeing with you. I think they have to move on, not because I don't have faith in Joel Embiid, but clearly what they're doing, it's not working. And you are better off, in my opinion, moving on from guys while you still have good value in what you can get back. And as James mentioned, it would be a king's ransom. And as Kenneth points out here, Embiid is injury prone and he's getting older. He also, the way that he plays, for whatever reason, the guy, and you hate to knock any kind of hustle in the game, right? But when you're that big and you're that injury prone, you got to learn to pick your spots on when you're going to dive and hit the court, landing on your knees, just doing extra work to bang up those joints. And who knows what injury it's going to be that takes Embiid down a level as far as his skill set and his star power. And if I'm the Sixers, I would rather move on from him before that next injury happens. Like, there was a time, those longer NBA fans, you may remember this back in the day, Boogie Cousins and Anthony Davis were running pretty wild through the Western Conference for about one half of an NBA season before one Mr. Boogie Cousins tore his ACL, and the team was unable to recover from that, and the player has never been the same. Boogie Cousins has had multiple times back in the fold. He's played meaningful for the Warriors. I mean, he played meaningful basketball in the NBA Finals against the Raptors in that championship, but he was never the same. And when he got hurt, he was an all-star. He and Anthony Davis were revolutionizing the way, like the way we viewed big men, because they were athletic, they could dribble, they could pass, they could shoot. And then Karl Anthony Towns wants to pretend like no one's watching TV.
Let's not pretend. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. So now he's the greatest big man, shooting big man of all time. Yeah. But I say all that just to say the Boogie's example that I think proves my point at times. Another one to go back to, Brandon Roy. You never know when the injury is going to be that you just don't come back from. And I would hate, the Sixers went through this process. They already dealt with it with Ben Simmons and all this stuff. I would move on from Joel Embiid while you're going to,
like I said, you could get a king's ransom for him. You could get a lot from him, and you could build, and you've already got the next guy. You've got Tyrese Maxey. So I wouldn't be against it. Like, I really am not. I don't think they'll do it, but like, I wouldn't rule it out either,
Yeah, I am with you there. So I don't know. Do we want to dig into the Knicks Sixers matchup anymore? I know we've kind of already given our thoughts on it, but before I moved on, I wanted to check with you if you have any further analysis you want to provide.
With OG playing, I really like the Knicks, 4-1, 4-2 in Madison Square Garden too. Give me the Knicks.
Yeah, I have seen Brunson do some great things in the playoffs. No, let's go to the Pacers. Absolutely. F that series. I like it. Well,
You know what? We do what our fans want.
let's do it. Let's talk about the Pacers. Now, I'm gonna hand this to James. I'm gonna be right back in just a second.
Non-homer.
But
Okay.
so we can have the non-homer take first.
Non-homer
James, why don't
take.
you give the folks your thoughts on the Pacers? And guys, keep him honest in the chat. I'll be gone for a second.
You know what? Like,
if he slanders my boys, I need to know it. Okay.
What's horrifying is it's breaking news. It's breaking news. The whole conversation starts and ends with, when does Giannis come back? 2 days ago, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports that the Bucks are preparing to be without Antetokounmpo for the beginning of their series against the Pacers. Kenny, the question is, how long is the beginning of the series? Is that just one game? Is it 2? Is it 3? Big problem there. It's a huge, huge, huge issue. And then you factor in also that Damian Lillard did not practice Tuesday or Wednesday due to lingering groin and abductor injuries. I assume he plays, but how many games is Giannis going to miss here? You know, Giannis is out for a bit. Man, like, I lean towards the Pacers. And I see you, Butsy. I see you down there. Pacers in 5, Butts says, like, their season series was, I want playoff series here, ESPN. I want regular season. Pacers beat the Bucks 4-1. So, Butsy, Pacers in 5. I'm going to give my prediction before Kev gets here. With Giannis out, I think he misses multiple games, at least 2, if not 3. I'm going to take the Pacers in 6.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did he hear it? Damn it, he heard it. Damn it, he heard it.
Oh, yeah.
He heard it.
I heard you say before Kev gets back, and I thought, you know what? I can just
Damn
leave
it,
this
he
camera
ran
turned
back.
off.
He ran
Woo!
back. Giannis is going to be out at least 1 game, if not multiple games. I got you, Butsy. I really do think the Pacers are going to do this. Lillard's hurt too. They have the best coach in the history of ever, Doc Rivers. Jesus Christ.
Woo!
You fired what's his face for this. You fired what's his face to fire the next guy to get to this. Like,
yeah, Budenholzer.
Yeah, you fired Budenholzer. Who, by the way, just casual reminder, was dealing with a death in the family last year in playoffs.
Yeah,
and
God
multiple
forbid
players
you get out-coached by Eric Spoelstra while dealing
who,
with
by the way, is going to
family
out-coach everybody in the world. So, you know.
Wow.
And then, yeah, exactly, Kenny. Like, we know how this goes.
It's like firing a guy because he lost a putting contest to Tiger Woods. I mean, that's a dated reference. I don't watch a lot of golf
in his prime.
Anymore, but
yeah.
you get it. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Bro, really? Guy didn't have Giannis, and he's going against one of the best coach teams in the NBA, and he had a death in the family. Oh, yeah, let's fire him. It's not like he's the guy who helped turn this franchise around.
Dude, yeah, he didn't win you a title. Don't mind that.
Let's forget about, not to mention what he did with that shitty fucking Hawks roster. You remember that Hawks roster that made it to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah.
Get out of here, dude. That Bud can coach. I'm telling you, there is a redemption
he's
in the making for Mike Budenholzer, and the Bucks are going to look like even bigger idiots than they already
the Bucks
look.
Didn't want Nick Nurse. Giannis didn't want Nick Nurse. Fuck out of here. Pacers are favored by 1.5 right now. Yeah, I mean, kidding. There's a reason they were 4-1 against them. Absolutely. I agree. I actually weirdly agree. Like, I hate that I'm doing like. Give me the Pacers in 6 at the most. I think Giannis misses 2, if not 3 games, and Lillard's hurt too. Like, all of a sudden, if you play game 1 without both of them, they're going to mow you down.
Dude, the Pacers are built, and people were talking about this early in the season and going into the mid-season tournament. The Pacers are built. They do everything well that the Bucks are bad at, and so they are like Milwaukee's kryptonite.
They were already a problem anyway.
The Bucks are terrible in their perimeter defense on guards. They're not good in transition on defense. The Pacers really can play with pace while also being a very efficient half-court team, by the way. So as Kenneth had said previously, they were beating the Bucks with Giannis, not necessarily worried about them without Giannis. And here's another way to look at it. The Pacers are without Benedict Mathurin, and the Bucks are without Giannis. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I'm bummed that the Pacers don't have Benny, that's a trade you would take X and O wise. Like, you take that trade all day. So both teams are a little banged up, to say the least, but the Pacers have more of their better guys available. And Halliburton got his slump out of his system a while ago. He's had several impressive nights since then. And we're talking about a team, the last game that they played in the regular season, they scored 150-something points again because Atlanta has no business playing in the postseason. And,
shouldn't be there.
You know, they're not a playoff team. How are you going to give up 150 points and then be in the playoffs the next night is beyond me. But, you know, that we've already talked about that. You have to rewind the tape to hear me rant about that again. I'm not going to put you through it again. Because it's Milwaukee, because it's Dame, I have a hard time picking this as anything shorter than a 6-game series. But yeah, give me Pacers in 6. I think it's one of those weird. I think the games that the Pacers win aren't going to be incredibly close, to be honest. But I think it is going to be a series
blowouts,
where the Bucks are able to eke out a couple of hard-fought wins, and then the Pacers at home, I think, are going to just demolish them. So Homer alert, obviously. Let me slide out the frame.
I said it. Listen, I said it before him. I'm going to eat it. Like, I said it well before he did. But it's just the truth. Like, facts are the facts. Giannis is hurt again at the beginning of the playoffs. And, I mean, they're 4-1 against them this year. Factor in a hampered Lillard, and it's could be bad. There you go.
Yeah,
Ken.
And Ken mentions another good part. I know you already brought this up. No, you're good. I just wanted to reference it real quick. The Turner injury and McConnell, they are going to be huge. And if there's anything that gives me pause right now that has me worried about the Pacers, it is the Miles Turner injury. Yeah. You know, and McConnell has been huge down the stretch. I mean, I love, he's one of my favorite, you know, another 2K hero, another 2K legend, McConnell. And when I think of quality point guards, and this was before he was in Indiana, like TJ McConnell, I think is one of those, just like, you love having a guy like that. Backup point
annoying as fuck when you're playing against him, but when you play with him, you love him. Yeah, 100%.
He's crafty a little bit. He's got a decent shot. Obviously, he's not the most athletic guy in the world, but makes good decisions, and he's not afraid to get in there and draw some fouls and score close to the rim, even though it will certainly be below it. So I love that. I think it's a good take from Ken. Also agree with that. I like this assessment as well. I do see the Pacers stealing one at home. Game 1, it might be. I see. Like this one might be. I might be like a 2-3, 4-6, where it's like the Bucks, because the Bucks are able to go into this series potentially with an underdog mindset because their 2 best players are hurt. Yeah. And we've already seen some of their players tweeting about, like, the Pacers have been in their head since like December.
It's such a weird deal.
If there was ever a team that the Bucks were going to be ready to go for, it's this Pacers team. So I could see the Bucks actually pulling out game 1, but the Pacers are getting one of those 2 without a doubt, in my opinion. The Pacers are definitely going to win game 3 at home in front of that rowdy Pacers crowd. So I know, sorry, non-Pacers fans and Bucks fans. I know we spent a lot of time on that series, but we've got our Indiana boys in here.
It's a huge upset city one. Like, it's a real thing.
Okay, so this is where, before we move on from the Pacers, it'll give me a chance. Oops, sorry about that. Maybe give you a chance to let a little bit of the wind out of my sails, lower my balloon a little bit, James. We both think, Kenny. Yes, Kenny, we appreciate you. Thank you for all the chat. And we both think the Pacers are going to get out of the first round. Keebler and I were both on the same side as thinking the Pacers could have been an Eastern Conference Finals team. This was way back when, before the season was over.
Long ago. Yep.
We thought they might have a shot. How deep do you see this Pacers team being able to make a run? Like in their best case scenario, how far could you see them going?
I gotta pull up the NBA bracket real quick.
Not a problem. I think because for me personally, dealing with the injuries and once Halliburton went through that slump, and just seeing this team lose a bunch of games to teams that they should have beaten, I have a hard time, despite being a homer, thinking that being as confident as I was previously. Like, yeah, dude, this team could go to a conference final. But that being said, they got that 6 seed, right? At the beginning of the season, we said they're probably good enough to be a 6 seed. They were not a 6 seed last year. So, like, I'm not trying to take anything away from my boys, but an Eastern Conference Finals is a tall order. So, James, what do you think? You've got the
you're going to get the Knicks in the second
right?
round. Yeah, I got the bracket up here.
I love that.
They get the Knicks in the second round, and I don't think they'll beat the Knicks. I'm not saying they can't, though. You know, like they absolutely could get to the Eastern Conference Final.
It's
I don't know. I don't think
possibility.
anybody's beating the Celtics. But
I certainly hope not. Well, you get what I mean.
It's a
for their
possibility. Yeah, for their sake. Yeah. It's absolutely a possibility. I'm trying to find a good bracket here. That's last. Why would I ever want last year's?
Google, get your shit together, dog.
I agree. Like, why am I seeing one with the Warriors as a 1 seed? What fucking year is this?
Dude, you got to be careful. Like in the thumbnail game too. Sometimes if you just type in NBA or NFL playoffs, they'll show you something. It's like,
they're like
2022, dude. That's 2 years ago. Why are you showing me this? Why would that be the top hit?
Then I get one that can we zoom in? Like, what is this? What world are we living in, folks? Like, good Lord.
Yeah. See, look at that playoff bracket with the play-in tournament and tell me that we don't have too much going on here. All right. If you disagree with our points from earlier, look at that graph.
Yeah.
And tell me you're still holding your position from before. This is ridiculous. Look at that nonsense.
Yeah, look at the brackets on the side. Like, get out of here. Man, they could do an Eastern Conference Finals. That's the highest ceiling I see for them. Do I think they will? No. Could they? Absolutely, yes.
I'm with you there. You know, I could see it happen, especially that Knicks series. That's such a rival, and we're both
that's a whole different monster
in the opinion. Thank you for pulling this up. This will actually be pretty clutch for the for the rest of going through all this, because we don't think. I think the Knicks are beating whoever comes out of that.
The Knicks are.
Well, it was the Sixers, right?
76ers. The 76ers. The other one.
So yeah, they're
Bulls
beating that.
Heat go to the 8. This is.
I would have taken them. Maybe I would have taken the Heat with the healthy Jimmy potentially, but no. I've got the Pacers as it. The Eastern Conference Finals are still in their sights. I don't think they're beating Boston though, guys. I'm so sorry. I would love.
No, I think Boston's going to the finals. Period.
Yeah, I would love to say that I truly believe that. So dealer's choice, James. You pulled up the bracket, so I think it's only fair. You just had to talk about my team for about 20 minutes. So what first round matchup do you want to look at next? You want to finish things off in the East, or you want to go to the West?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's finish it off in the East. We're not going to talk about the Celtics. They're going to win, right?
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, we're good there. Easy. Yeah, save us some time.
Cavs Magic is fun. Magic were my pick before the season to do some, do some shit, make the jump. I think the Cavs win that series. It's right there. Yeah. Cavs are going to win that series. I just don't. The Magic are ahead of schedule, not ready for this just yet. And the Cavs have Donovan Mitchell.
Boom. Yep. I will keep it short and sweet and essentially just retweet what James said. Those of you who've been listening for a long time, already know my thoughts on this sort of narrative, this coming of age of NBA teams. This is all part of it. You're blessed if you have a young, talented team that gets ahead of schedule.
Yeah, great. Good for them.
Like they have, like the Kings have, like the Thunder have. But that adversity is almost it's almost like a door fee. Like you're gonna have to lose some playoff series if you're gonna be a team that gets to the very few teams go from we haven't been a playoff team consistently. It's one thing, maybe you might have missed the playoffs last year and then you're in the finals because someone was injured or whatever, but very rarely is it a franchise that is consistently out of the playoffs that all of a sudden their first year in makes a run to the finals. Most of the time you face that adversity, you get knocked out that first, maybe second time. Hell, again, roll back the old tape. Look at the 80s Pistons, Jordan before he became Jordan, and you'll see a lot of evidence of stuff like this, of teams just kind of being there, being really good, but it's a whole new atmosphere. It's a whole new game. Despite the modernization of sports, playoff basketball is still a different beast from regular season basketball. The game slows down. Possessions are more important, and that always, in my opinion, will go to the favor of the more seasoned team, which in this case is Cleveland. And like you said, then there's also Donovan Mitchell. So Paolo and the Magic, wonderful fucking season they've put together. But I see it ending after one round. So we're both on the same page here. We have Boston going all the way. So we would have it Boston, Cleveland, Pacers, Knicks, and then so either Pacers or Knicks versus Boston, but it doesn't really matter, right? Are we kind of in agreement with how the rest of the East shakes out?
Yep, I think it's Celtics or bust in that one.
Heard. And hey, shout out. We are creeping up on 100 live
right there. We're close
right now, guys. So we greatly appreciate you. I'm not usually a big call to action guy, but since we're here and we're an hour in, so I feel like I can say like and subscribe if you don't mind, since you're here. We appreciate you. We should be able to get through the West, I think, relatively quickly, James, but I'll go ahead and start. In the East, we kind of started with my favorite team. James, I know they're not necessarily your favorite team, but you have been telling people how it was always the Nuggets for a very long time. So let's start with Denver, LA, because I have been at my wit's end. If I had any hair to lose, James, I would be pulling it out after I hear the likes of Stephen A. Smith say, if LeBron James can beat this Denver team and take the Lakers all the way and win another NBA Finals, he will have cemented himself as greater than Jordan. I won't necessarily argue that, but that's a ridiculous concept to think that would even happen. I assumed you would agree with me, James, but what are your thoughts? Denver, LA, who's winning that series? Do the Lakers even have a chance?
Bad matchup. Do they have a chance? Yes. Did they just get the ultimate bad matchup for him? 100%. Like, also, Denver's a terrible matchup for him. Give me, I think it's Denver in 5. Like, I think Denver just rolls.
It's cake, right?
Just a wrong team. I think it's a cake. Like, I'd rather seen the Lakers play Oklahoma City.
Wrong team, wrong time for these guys.
That's exactly how I feel about it.
It is not going to be LeBron's year. So unfortunate for them that they got this draw. I think Denver is still going to go very deep into the playoffs, but we'll touch on that here in a second. I think we can go to maybe the next. And maybe it's not the next easiest series. Maybe you'll disagree with me on this one, James. The Thunder versus either the Pelicans or the Kings. We both are inclined to believe it's going to be the Kings, right? What do you think is going to happen in this first round?
I think, like you said, I think it's Kings, and it's going to be a beast, but I think it's Thunder in like 6. Like, I believe in this Thunder team. I really do. Young, dumb, don't know what they're supposed to be. They're not supposed to be here. I believe in them though. I really do. Shea's an MVP level player. Giddey, Chet's awesome. The Williams is like, I'm in. Give me them. Give me the Thunder.
You know, we in this world of sports media, it's a fine line. You'll get called out when you make a bad prediction. For instance, this guy I know named Kev Nevick wrote an article
Never
called
met
the
him.
Tom Brady farewell tour in like 2018 or something stupid.
Whoops.
But it was interesting. I was out with a friend yesterday who just kind of out of the blue, we were talking NBA playoffs, and he was like, "Hey, dude, you were so right about the Thunder, by the way. I remember like a couple years ago, you were saying, hey, dude, this Thunder team, they're going to be able to do whatever they want.
Yep.
They're so young and talented. They have all these different players. They can play positionless basketball. They can small ball lineup. They can play big. They got a bunch of different guys that do it. And again, a little bit ahead of schedule, potentially. Like James said, they're not supposed to be here in the 1 seed at the very least.
Supposed to be here.
And they can play with that. And also, it's not like they haven't been here. So a lot of these guys have suffered their first playoff defeat. So give me Oklahoma. Oh, I think the Kings will win some games. I'm going to go 6 again. Where Goat? What up?
What up, Goat? I saw a great picture the other day that said the Detroit Pistons won as many games as the Detroit Lions this year.
Ooh, we almost had a spit take. Ooh.
Welcome back, brother. Yeah, I'm all in. Give me Oklahoma City in 6. I think the same thing. I think they're just the West is a beast, and they're really good.
Agreed. Now we had Bite Size Vikes in the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but John, if you're here, it's time. Timberwolves versus the Phoenix Suns. My bad, James. Man, one of the tougher ones to pick.
I wasn't Goat. I wasn't shitting on the Lions. I was giving the Lions credit. I was shitting on the Pistons. They suck. The Lions were great, man. Yeah, absolutely. They had more wins than our 2 terrible franchises combined. Absolutely. I am all on board the Lions train. I get it. I love the Lions. But I do not love the Pistons head coach, and I've been adamant about that since they hired him last summer. I said it last summer. It was a bad hire.
James out here sounding like all of the Pistons players.
Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy. All right, we got John's team. Karl-Anthony Towns back. I've also not been on the Suns train at all since last summer too, as well. I mean, I'm going Wolves, and I'm thinking Wolves in 5. Like I'm a believer.
This is a perfect storm for me. I'm a believer too, James.
Yeah.
How quickly we forget the Wolves were the top seed in the West for a good chunk of this season. They were a top 3 team throughout. They're a good team. And the Suns, I just think they're too top heavy.
Very top heavy.
I know obviously this isn't last year, like they've had most of the season at this point together. So with practice and all that time, I do think the Suns are going to have some good performances here, but Goat is with us. We're going Wolves on this one. You know what, though? I don't want to say so-and-so in 6 every single series. So you know what?
I said 5.
Here's my first 7 gamer, baby. Give me the Wolves.
Ooh.
Kevin Durant, at least, with the guys that the Suns have, I could see like one Devin Booker 50-piece getting them a win, one Durant 40-piece getting them a win, and them finding ways to stretch this one out. But the Timberwolves are going to win it, which takes us to an interesting one. This one, I wish we had Keebler here for this one. Shout out to him, guys. Follow him on Instagram and Twitter at the Knicks Stop. His Western Conference team is the Dallas Mavericks. Everyone who's been with us for the last year or so knows how high I have been on the Clippers at different times throughout this run that they've had. Of course, now they've added Harden to this mix, so I am not nearly as excited as I would have been in previous years for a healthy Clippers team actually in the playoffs. Wow. If only I could have had this last year, James. If only I could have had a healthy Clippers team in the playoffs. or at least to make the playoffs.
Mhm.
What do you think? Luka Doncic, MVP candidate. He's got Kyrie
Probably gonna
there.
get second.
Yeah, probably gonna get second, but what I'm kind of torn on this one. This to me might be the most difficult first round matchup for me to predict that I would feel comfortable picking. This maybe should have been my first best of 7 or my first one I picked to go 7 games. But what do you
So
think?
here's some news for you, Kev. Let's talk about shitty stuff that just injuries again. This was at 7:40, just a couple hours ago. LA Clippers All-Star Kawhi Leonard still has inflammation and surgically repaired right knee, and his status is questionable for Game 1 against Dallas.
He's about to do a load management in the playoffs, huh? That's crazy.
Their president of basketball operations said his knee is structurally solid and intact, but some very, very stubborn inflammation. He's like, there's no gamesmanship here, and we're very sensitive to the fact that questions are going to be asked and want to be as transparent as possible. It's okay to say what the truth is. It's unpredictable. But he has not practiced.
Spoken like a true gamesman, you know.
But you got to be careful what you say right now because you can get some serious fines and shit. So I believe it. Like, I'd be if he's out, like Mavs. I still lean Mavs. I still lean Mavs because we've seen what playoff Luka can do.
Yeah, we've seen what playoff Luka can do. We've also seen what playoff James Harden can't do. And so
Correct.
I'm in agreement. You're going to need Kawhi, Paul George, and the best version of Russell Westbrook that is presently available in order to overcome the inevitable 1-for-14 game 6 that James Harden's going to have. You know, once the Clippers like if they get a 3-1 lead, they might as well bench James Harden for the rest of the series because he is just going
it's over.
collapse like he has literally every other time he's ever been in the playoffs. It's unfortunate. I don't mean to disrespect him too much, but at this point, you know, I'm just calling it how I see it. And I don't think the Clippers can maintain without Kawhi. That being said, I think they're going to have Kawhi. Man. I'm going to pick the Clippers. I think I'm going to feel like an idiot. In hindsight, I think they're going to make me look stupid. This one's weird, but I'm just going to take the chance. I should have learned my lesson by now, James. I should not trust the LA Clippers to even stay healthy, let alone win these games. But I'm going to do it. For the content, baby. I'm going to do it. So
for the brand,
at least one of us can say we were right.
The same exact thing.
Yeah, there we go. Give me the Clippers. Fuck.
Yep.
Hey, at least we've passed the 100 threshold. So shout out, guys. Thank you all.
Shout out, boys. Thank you.
We love it. We appreciate you.
You know what? Like, I'm gonna pop that back up there, Nate, because I think it's a real fucking possibility.
If that's the Western Conference Final, I'm probably going to take that week's show off and just let James and Keebler have their fun.
I mean, I think I'm taking the Nugs the finals, period. So I'm predicting Celtics Nuggets finals. I could see Luka upsetting OKC. Just from a Luka's been here, done this perspective. We know what he can do in the playoffs. Oklahoma City young. Like I would not. I'm going to pick that as my conference finals. I'm going to go Mavs Nuggets. I really am.
Okay. You know what? I don't hate that at all. And that's a great segue, honestly, because we just got through all the first round matchups. Now let's talk about Nate's got a ridiculous hot take here that we can get to in a second.
You are out of control.
You
were good for a second, and then you took a shot of Malort and lost your fucking mind.
You want to go double or nothing on that shoey you owe us, you know?
Yeah, when is it? Yeah, come on down, bro.
I am in agreement with the idea that the Thunder very well could be knocked out in the second round. This is where, for them, you know, if the Timberwolves had fallen into that 4-5 and we had like a OKC Minnesota second round, then I might be pounding the table for, oh yeah, dude, we're getting OKC in those conference championships. But I do see, regardless of the matchup, they're either going to be playing against a healthy Clippers team with a bunch of stars, a bunch of knowledgeable veterans, or they're going
Mhm.
to walk through the situation that James just discussed. So
Yep.
I think if they go through all of that, they still have to beat Denver. Now, give me Denver. I mean, we're not changing anything that we didn't say last week. I think James and I both
Yep.
said
Mhm.
Boston, Denver for our finals prediction last week. Before
Yep.
I know this is like the official one because the playoffs will have
Yep.
started by the time we talk next. But no, nothing. I haven't seen anything to change my mind on those guys. I just want to say I will not be shocked if the Thunder shock the world. I won't be amongst them. You know, I do think
Yep.
that, like, as James said earlier, this Thunder team, you know, they're playing with house money, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm just going to continue that narrative that I've been pushing for the last 2 years, that this Thunder team was going to be something incredibly special. And making your way to the finals on a year when you're not even supposed to be here is something that
Mhm.
special teams do. So if it
Whoa.
happens, I won't be surprised. But if I had to put money on it, I would still be going Denver, Boston.
Yep. I am all in on Denver, Boston.
Oh, I like Nate's idea here. Thunder are the 2015 Cubs, showed up a year early, but then ran into a hot
Yeah.
team. That, hey,
Yeah, it's a great.
that
Yeah, that's a
very well
great.
could
Yeah.
be their
Mhm.
fate. Yep.
Yep. I agree.
I do not disagree. So I think that about caps it. We've got the NBA playoff predictions all locked in here for you
Mhm.
fine folks at home. So before we get out of here, while we go through our where can they find you segment, if you
Mhm.
have any other questions for us, if you have any other thoughts, now would be the time to get them in. Once again,
Mhm.
thank you all so much. Over 100 live viewers. It's amazing.
Thank you
I
guys.
mean,
Thank you guys for coming down. What a Kev,
yeah.
we've been doing this. Well, there was a time when there was 0 live viewers.
Yeah,
We
I was
started
just
this
about to
bitch a
say,
year and a half. Like we was breathing into the void, man.
yeah, there was a time we'd be blessed to have gotten 100 views on a video in a
Yeah.
month. So the fact that there are 100 of you
Mhm.
sitting here hanging out with us right now is not lost on us. So we greatly appreciate it,
No, it is
especially those
absolutely
of
not.
you
Thank you guys.
who have been commenting from beginning to end. So you guys are
Yeah, thank
phenomenal.
you guys.
If you have any thoughts or questions, anything, go ahead and get them up on the screen. Get them in the comment section. I will pull them up on screen before we get out of here. James, anything that you have for the folks at home, anything that we want to talk about in the world of NBA before we bid our farewell?
No, I've got nothing. We touched on everything. My 10 cents on the Jonte Porter scandal is got what you deserved. Don't bet on it. Don't bet on your own sport. Don't bet on definitely don't do what he did. Like I won't say much more than that other than got what you deserved,
Yep.
man.
Yep. Don't do it. Not worth what you could stand to lose. And you can ask
Yep, lost it
Pete
all. Lost
Rose's
it all.
unhappy ass about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. Just no
That's all I
room
got on
for
that.
it.
Yep.
No room for it at all. Just very, very unfortunate that it happened. Well, in that case, James, it's time for someone's favorite segment. I'm
Mhm.
just not sure who. Where can the good folks at home find you when you're not with us? I hear that you've been busy on our sister channel a
I
little bit.
have been on our sister station. So for all you nerds out there, our sister station Dweeb is where you can find me the most active at. Every Wednesday at 9 p.m., we're talking Star Wars Han Shot First. Right now, we are talking the Bad Batch through and any news we get weekly. Our friend Bite Size Vikes joined me last night as Kev was celebrating his birthday and broke his glasses because he had few too many drinks, apparently. But you can catch us, our preview reviews over there. I'm going to start doing a little more content over there. We're getting the ball rolling. That one's starting to pick up steam, which is great. Otherwise, it's here every Thursday, 9 p.m. talking. We're back to the NBA. The NCAA tournament's over. We are back to the NBA.
We are back. That's right. You'll be able to come kick it with us every Thursday throughout the playoffs. Be sure you're subscribed because we might do some bonus live streams. We used to stream during NBA games on playback TV. It might do something similar here for NBA games, especially the closer we get to the finals. And Pacers fans in general, keep an eye out for me because I may want to do some commentary during Pacers games. So be sure to subscribe if you're interested in any of that. Otherwise, you can visit us on bitesizesports.com. We have a lot of NFL content right now, mock drafts, off-season plans for how to either rebuild or reload. So go check that out. Maybe Josh or John have written about your favorite team. We will see. Shout out to Evan, our newest writer on staff. Can't wait to read your stuff, brother. And you can find me on Tuesdays and Sundays from 6:15 to 8:15 on the Clout Route. Shout out to all the Clouters out there, James. We made YouTube partner over on the Clout Route. We are now accepting donations. We've got like 30 channel members already. Just blowing my freaking mind, if I can be honest with you.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
I feel like Wayne's World, we're not worthy kind of thing. But if you want to join the fastest growing internet comedy show, be sure to check us out at the Clout Route. I've already pitched my other stuff. Carnage Unleashed every Wednesday right before Dweeb. We are live talking about all the newest and wildest things in the world of MMA right here on Bite Size Sports. It's also simulcast on the Carnage Media YouTube channel. So, hey, if you aren't busy on Wednesdays and you don't mind getting some egg in your life, you can double dip, watch a double feature of James and myself on any old Wednesday night. And then, of course, when the football season starts back up, you can find me on the Horseshoe Pride podcast. Go Colts, baby. All right. I think that's it. Actually, you know what? I've got a Cosmic Jive album coming out in 6 days.
Hell yeah.
If you like hazy Cosmic Jive, go check that out, dude. James, thank you again. And thank you for covering for me, you and John. A special shout out to you both, guys. Go check out last night's Dweeb episode on the Bad Batch. Because I didn't get to talk with the boys about it, I think I might do a little special extra bonus. I might do a little episode and a half so I can get my thoughts out and we can be all caught up. But
see what you think.
James has done some new stuff over on the Dweeb channel too, so make sure you're checking that out. And if I forgot anyone, I am so sorry. Oh, you know what? Shout out to the Lima Warriors. This season I am doing play-by-play for football, guys.
Busy,
my mind.
Busy, man.
Called my first football game last weekend. Just shout out to them. Very, very honored and humbled to have that opportunity. So look out, guys. Sooner or later, you're going to be like, wait a minute. I think I know that really annoying voice.
He's coming, folks.
Man,
he's coming.
Yeah, that's right. All right, James. Any final thoughts for our folks at home before I force one last ad down their throat?
It was always the Nuggets.
Damn right. Sports. Are you looking for an energy boost without the jitters? Let our friends at Dubby Energy help you with their fantastic selection of flavors. Just visit www.dubby.gg and use the code BITESIZESPORTS at checkout for 10% off your order total. Again, that is www.dubby.gg. Code